these events here. Yeah, hopefully after you learn that you're essentially poisoning yourself with that stuff, hopefully everyone's going to go home and throw all that stuff right in the garbage.
Feed it to the kids.
Yeah, don't give it to the kids, don't give it to the neighbors, just throw it away. So I'd like to welcome everybody. We're also doing this on Facebook Live, so welcome to all our Facebook followers. If anybody wants to see any of this again or they want to share it with anybody, you can go to our Facebook page. It's Watson Wellness Inc. on Facebook, and this is all recorded, so you can watch it anytime or share it with your friends and family. So why are we here tonight on this beautiful Monday? As a lot of you guys know, the world that we live in now is over-medicated and overstressed, and a lot of us are overweight. And a lot of people know that we need to get healthier, but we don't always know what steps we need to do, what concrete actions we can take to get healthier. So that's what we're here to do, and we do this as just a free service. I pick kind of a nice bang for your buck topic, and this is a huge one, is trying to get rid of a lot of the added sugar from your diet to create overall health. A lot of Americans, unfortunately, spend a lifetime of smoking or being overweight or sedentary and having poor diet choices, and all of a sudden they get this first heart attack or cancer diagnosis as a surprise, and they want to take a pill and make everything go away. But life doesn't work that way. Health and wellness and vitality comes from healthy choices every day. So that's what we're here to talk about, is healthy habits, and what can we do, what small changes can we do to create long-term health and wellness and vitality that a lot of us are looking for all the time. And the word doctor actually comes from Latin, the word docere, which means to teach. So doctors are actually supposed to be teachers, and a lot of times instead of just teaching healthy lifestyles, it just turns into another prescription to put onto the list. So we're here to try to make a difference and try to educate people on healthy lifestyle choices. And always remember, it's a journey, it's not a destination. You always want to be studying, learning, trying new things, experimenting on yourself, and kind of a big takeaway from all our topics is take responsibility for your own health. You know, you don't want to wait until it's too late and then have to put your healthcare in the hands of our medical system, which we'll talk about momentarily here. So we do a raffle every month. We have some new prizes this month. Our first prize is going to be a TENS unit. This is essentially a form of electric muscle stimulation. Runs off a 9-volt battery. It's not a toy. Don't give it to the kids. Don't give it to the teenagers to play with either. And I can explain how to use that for whoever wins that. We also have BioPhrase. It's a menthol ointment, really good for arthritis, sore muscles, stuff like that. We have a couple of these hot cold packs. You can microwave them for heat therapy, put them in the freezer for ice. We're also going to do a bottle of stevia, compliments of my lovely wife, which probably went on my credit card though, right? So this is from my wife. We'll talk a little bit about stevia during the lecture here. All right, so in order to sign up for the raffle, we're going to pass these around. There's a pen and some slips on here. There's a line for name, line for email. If you don't want our newsletter, don't put your email, just put your name on. If you want to get our newsletter, where we talk about the lectures that we do, health, wellness tips, things like that, just put your email address and we'll put that on there. So I'm going to pass these around. We'll just go one in each row and just send them to the back here. There you go. We'll do that at the end. And then, of course, our joke of the month. We always start these with a joke for those new people that we haven't seen before. So, there's a church, and there's 3 couples that decide that they want to join this church. There's an older couple, a middle-aged couple, and a newlywed couple. So they all go, they talk to the pastor, and the pastor says, okay, in order to join our church, we have a test for you. You have to go for 2 months, and you're not allowed to make love for 2 months. And then you're going to come back here, and we'll talk about getting you into the church. So 2 months go by, they all come back, and he starts with the older couple and asks them how they did. They said, well, it was a little bit of a struggle, but we stayed strong, we prayed about it, and we got through. And he says, okay, thank you. Well, you passed the test, welcome into the church. And then the middle-aged couple, they say, it was a real struggle. We were definitely tempted, but we were able to stay strong, and we made it through. And the pastor says, okay, great, welcome to the church. And they asked the newlywed couple, and the man says, well, you know, we were doing good for a couple weeks there until my wife dropped a can of paint, and then we couldn't wait any longer. And the pastor says, well, a can of paint, what does that have to do with anything? And he says, well, my wife dropped a can of paint. When I saw her bend over to pick it up, I was overcome with lust. I couldn't resist. And the pastor says, well, I'm sorry, you didn't pass. You're not welcome in the church. And the guy says, yeah, I kind of figured. We're not welcome back at Home Depot anymore either. All right, so breaking your sugar addiction. Here we go. My first complaint. A little bit about me. I am a third-generation chiropractic physician. A lot of people think chiropractic is only back pain, neck pain, and that's a lot of what we do, but chiropractors have kind of been out in the forefront of lifestyle medicine and health and wellness for the last 100 years, and fortunately now a lot of mainstream medicine is starting to figure out that that's what we should have been doing the whole time here. I have a doctorate in chiropractic medicine from National University. It's in Chicago. I also have a bachelor's degree in chemistry from Ohio University. Go Bobcats. We got some Bobcats in here, right? Nobody? And then I have another bachelor's degree in human biology, mostly an organic chemistry background for undergrad. But a lot of my practice is nutrition and lifestyle, because that's kind of where a lot of the future of medicine needs to be. My beautiful wife, Kelsey, she's filming us on Facebook right now. You want us to do a quick pan? Say hi to everybody. Everybody say hi to our Facebook friends here.
Hi. I don't have to stand up.
I've done a lot of traveling, and I do that in order to get a feel for healthcare in a lot of other countries. And we'll talk a little bit about that. This picture was from India. I spent about 6 weeks in southern India studying Ayurvedic medicine and some of their approaches. We were just in Iceland last month for a little bit. Highly recommend Iceland. We were in China for a couple weeks in September. Got to see some Chinese and Eastern medicine. These are our two children, Dallas and Mr. Rocco. A couple of adopted mutts. And then Watson Wellness, this is my clinic. We're right here in downtown Amherst, right across from the Quarry Cafe here downtown. Come say hi. All right, so what are we going to talk about? I always like starting these lectures with, why is this so important? And as far as why, it's why is it so important to take responsibility for your own health, and why is it so important to make these healthy habits every day? And we'll talk a little bit about healthcare, which is actually sick care in America. And then we'll spend the first half talking about sugar and its implications in disease, and how sugar promotes everything from high blood pressure to cancer to diabetes, and a lot of other things. Because I find that a lot of times when people understand the physiological implications of some of these health choices that they make every day, it can be kind of a wake-up call, and psychologically be kind of a boost to start making better choices. And then I essentially just put together like a 7-step program to get rid of added sugar from the diet and to help with overall health and longevity. So let's get started. Why is this important? I always like these quotes. Thomas Edison, from right here in Milan, Ohio. The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest his patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. Our healthcare system is in the treatment of disease, but we want to focus on the human frame, diet, very important, and what's causing and preventing diseases in the first place, instead of waiting until disease processes happen and then trying to go back and treat it. Hippocrates, known as the father of medicine in ancient Greek 2,500 years ago, said, let food be thy medicine, let medicine be thy food. And really, that's where everything starts with healthcare. It's all, what are we putting into your mouth? You always hear, you are what you eat. On a cellular, physiological level, you are what you eat. And if you're putting in Big Macs and French fries, it's not healthy on a cellular level. All right, a couple little stats on healthcare in the United States of America. One that I like to start with because U.S. spends more money by far than any other country in the world. And when the World Health Organization got together and they ranked all of our healthcare systems by lifespan, infant mortality, they took all these different health indicators and put them on. The United States ranks 37th in the world, meaning that 36 other countries in the world have a better healthcare system than what we have in the United States, despite the fact that we spend a lot more than anybody else. Our study in JAMA, which is the Journal of the American Medical Association, basically what they did was they lumped in deaths from pharmaceutical meds, surgeries, hospital-acquired infections, essentially people that died because of our healthcare system. When they put all these together, what they found was that our medical system is the third leading cause of death in the United States. Number 1, heart disease. Number 2, cancer. Number 3,
the hospital.
So that should be an eye-opener. You don't want to wait till you get sick. You want to prevent these things from happening in the first place. As we all know, medical costs have skyrocketed. Health insurance premiums have skyrocketed. A lot of people are on Medicare, which that kind of levels things out, but still the costs keep going up. Premiums, everything. Number 1 cause of bankruptcy in the U.S., healthcare costs. Too expensive. And essentially, our entire system of treating symptoms with diseases, which is most of our system, patient comes in with a symptom, we give them a medication, essentially it just doesn't work. A lot of times we think about these pharmaceutical companies as they're going to come up with a cure for cancer or whatever it is. I like people to keep in mind pharmaceutical companies are a for-profit industry. And all of these major pharmaceutical companies get fined millions, even billions of dollars. The largest one, GlaxoSmithKline, one of the biggest drug manufacturers, got fined $3 billion as a fine from the government for falsifying research, prescribing drugs off labels, a whole host of different things. So we see all this direct-to-consumer marketing now where you turn on the TV and everything's pharma, which should be illegal. U.S. and New Zealand are the only 2 countries that even allow that. But keep in mind, the drug companies are designed to make a profit for their shareholders, first and foremost. And most all these guys spend a lot more money on marketing than they do on research. So essentially, what I want to get away from with that is take responsibility for your own health. And this is a quote I just added in. I just saw this, even though it's kind of older, but this is an MD, PhD, in charge of the World Health Organization. He said, basically, you die earlier, spend more time disabled if you're an American rather than a member of other advanced countries. Kind of crazy. And we'll talk about some of those reasons why. This is funny. It's kind of rude, but it's funny. I just put this clip in. I've never done a video before, but we'll see if it plays.
Have you noticed anything strange about your doctor? Does he seem happier than usual these days? Or is he quick to prescribe drugs you think you might not need?
You know what? One more, actually.
This waiting room frequently features surprisingly attractive, not sick-looking people. Well, that may be because your doctor's been taking pharmaceutical money. Pharmaceutical money takes many forms, from free lunches to speaking fees. Here's how it works. Money combines with the cash receptors in your doctor's wallet, creating fast-acting financial relief. So your doctor can rest easy with your life. Common side effects of doctors taking money may include chronic overprescription, unusually heavy cash flow, dependency on free samples, inflammation of confidence, affluenza, and an increased tendency to suggest off-label prescriptions, which in turn can cause heart attack, stroke, loss of feeling in arms and legs, seizures, blurred vision, grinding of the teeth, temporary deafness, total blindness, numbness, sudden bursts of rage, reaction of trust, angry erections lasting over 17 hours, and death. Ask your doctor today if he's taking pharmaceutical company money. Then ask your doctor what the money is for. Ask your doctor if he's taken any money from the companies who make the drugs he just prescribed for you. Then ask yourself if you're satisfied with that answer. Pharmaceutical money. Ask your doctor if his taking it is right for you.
That's kind of rude, and I don't mean to get down on the MDs. And my practice is largely generated from MD referrals, and it's really not their fault, it's the system's fault. It's the pharmaceutical companies that kind of run the hospitals, a lot of it behind the scenes. But I just wanted to show that. I just thought it was funny. Let me go to the slide here. All right. So let's talk a little bit about healthcare versus sick care. And what we're seeing now, we were just talking about up front here, and what I think a lot of the future of medicine and what a lot of things are turning into is what's called functional medicine. So where most of our system operates up here with symptoms, pain, swelling, everything has a symptom and a pharmaceutical drug. Where let's stop and look at the underlying causes. You know, if you have high blood pressure, instead of just taking a blood pressure med, why do you have high blood pressure? You know, what can we do to fix the cause before this becomes a problem in the future? A couple of stats here before we get into the sugar. Cancer. I always like bringing this up because a lot of people get in their minds that cancers are just a random dart at a wall, you get it or you don't get it. But they did a huge study, epidemiological study, and this was in a scientific journal called Nature, where what they found after they did all the research was that between 70 and 90% of cancer is preventable through proper lifestyle. Or in other words, only 10 to 30% of cancers are going to happen no matter what. The other vast majority are preventable. Study from the Mayo Clinic with heart disease, #1 killer in the United States, 80% preventable through proper lifestyle. Proper diet, exercise, not smoking. Of course, type 2 diabetes is the vast majority of the time preventable and reversible through most of what we're going to talk about today. But the whole takeaway, treat the cause and prevent the disease in the first place. And if we have the disease, we need to look at the underlying cause of it instead of just taking a medication to cover up symptoms the rest of our lives. All right, sugar time. So we're not going to get into the organic chemistry unless anybody really wants to. No? Okay, so we'll skip that. The main thing to think about with this is the difference between endogenous sugar, or sugar that naturally occurs in food, and added sugar, which is what the food companies dump into all the processed foods. One very positive thing that we've seen from the government, which is a rarity, is they're changing food labels for the first time in like 20 years. And I think it's in July of next year, they're going to have to add added sugar onto food labels. So right now, when you look at it'll tell you carbohydrates, how much comes from fiber, and then it'll say sugars. What they don't do, if you notice, is put the percentage next to the sugars, because in something like this poison, it would show 200, 300% of your daily sugar, and something like this, or not even more. But they don't put that next to the sugar. They just say how many grams. But they're going to have to start putting in how many added sugar grams that the food companies put in there. We're going to talk about that. Basically, monosaccharides, disaccharides, I'm not going to get into, but essentially, mono means one, is one molecule, glucose, fructose. You'll hear a lot about and see a lot of high fructose corn syrup. You absolutely want to eliminate anything with high fructose corn syrup in it. High fructose. Fructose gets into the liver, and especially in mass quantities, this is what's triggering a lot of your triglyceride issues, cholesterol issues, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, which they're estimating up to 25% of Americans have now, is from overconsumption of fructose. Glucose is what our brains use for energy, what our bodies use for energy. Essentially gets stored in the muscles, and the liver is in what's called glycogen, and then broken down for energy throughout the day. It's not the consumption of sugar. We need, the sugar is good in very small amounts. It's the added sugar that we want to stay away from. Sucrose is table sugar. We brought some of that just to do a little demo. This is sucrose, which is a combination of glucose and fructose. Don't really need to know that, but the other one, for example, milk sugar. You get a gallon of milk, there's sugar in it. It's lactose, it's a disaccharide, but there's not added sugar to it. So it all gets broken down into sugar in the body, but we want to keep this added sugar down. I put this chart up here. U.S. gets #1 on this one. Calorie intake of sweeteners by country, with the orange being high fructose corn syrup. So you think about some of these American diseases of our lifestyle, and then you look at how many calories we're taking in from sweeteners, especially high fructose corn syrup. Number one by far. So, how about sugar addiction? So let's talk, and I'm not by any means any addiction expert, but we'll think about it for a second. How does addiction work, whether it's alcohol or heroin, which is the big crisis that we see everywhere now, or sugar, or anything else, cigarettes, anything people get exposed to. A lot of it boils down to dopamine. So it's essentially, you're always looking for a high. So you have that drink or smoke that cigarette or eat that candy bar, you get a dopamine release in the brain. What happens over time is your body builds a tolerance to that. So you get that hit of whatever the addictive substance is, you get a dopamine release, you feel good. Then it goes away, so you do it again, but you need more in order to get that same high. And over time, when you keep making these decisions, despite a lot of times very negative consequences in life, you develop a tolerance to it, and then when you try to quit, you get a withdrawal. So essentially, in a nutshell, that's addiction. You know, you're making a choice that a lot of times has negative consequences in order to get that dopamine release in the brain. It's all chemical, and over time, it essentially rewires or configures the chemistry of your brain, and that's how people get addicted to things. Now, here's a crazy study for sugar. They did this with Oreo cookies. They took lab rats, and what they found was cocaine-addicted rats will go for sugar water more than they'll go for cocaine. So the findings of this study showed that sugar can be up to 8 times more addictive than cocaine. And you think about that from a societal perspective, in that cocaine, obviously, unless you're a movie star, is frowned upon. You know, people try to keep you away from that. Where sugar is encouraged at everything. Birthday parties, you know, any event is cakes and cookies and soda and all these other sugar-laden beverages. So it's an easy thing for people to get addicted to. This is a picture of a PET scan of a human brain. This is cocaine, this is sugar. It's the same thing. It's releasing dopamine in the brain. That's how addiction happens. So keep in mind too, you know, for people that do get addicted to this stuff, it is an addiction. You know, people just say, oh, I just like my sweets or whatever, but it is physiologically and biochemically an addiction, like a lot of other things. This just kind of shows a perpetual cycle of it. You eat the sugar, you like it, you get addicted to the properties, you get the insulin release, which we'll talk about more later, the blood sugar crashes, so you crave more of it, you do it again, and it just turns into a whole cycle, just like any other addiction. So that's essentially a lot of, basically, in a nutshell, how addiction to sugar works here. So as far as how much added sugar we can have in a day, 6 teaspoons. That should be a limit, and that's coming from World Health Organization. American Heart Association says around 8. The average American consumes, guess how much added sugar? Too much. About 23, depending on what you look at. So the average American is getting 4 times more sugar. This is a teaspoon. 6 teaspoons of added sugar total a day. We're going to do a little demo on how much sugar is in soda in a little bit here. I'll need a volunteer from the audience. All right, so I want to put that up too to say it's not all your fault. You know, the food companies aren't stupid. They know this is addictive, and they dump it in everything because it tastes good, it's cheap, they can mass produce it, and they sell a ton of it. And so they dump it in everything. Roughly 75%, or 3 out of any 4 processed foods have added sugar to it in one form or another. And we'll talk about some of the other forms that they'll hide that in. So the average American consumes around 150 pounds of sugar a year. That's a lot of sugar. That's refined added sugar. So one thing too, to just give an example about how much added sugar, barbecue sauce. Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. It's good. It's summertime. People are grilling out. One serving of barbecue sauce is 2 tablespoons. In 2 tablespoons, there's 16 grams of sugar. That's 4 teaspoons. In 2 tablespoons, 1 serving barbecue sauce, there's 4 teaspoons of sugar. That's just in barbecue sauce. So if you're trying to get 6 of these a day, 1 serving of barbecue ribs or whatever, that's all the sugar. So you have to start educating yourself on how to read the labels so you can eliminate a lot of this added sugar. Because who even thinks about it? Barbecue sauce, you know? All right, we're going to go through a couple of the different things that sugar can cause. So, blood pressure and cholesterol, 2 of the most commonly prescribed drugs for, and 2 of the most commonly found symptoms that can potentially lead to issues in the future. Blood pressure I like as an example because it's so rampantly prescribed and such a common issue. A lot of people have high blood pressure and don't even know that they have high blood pressure. And you definitely, if you have high blood pressure, you have to get it down. But instead of taking a thiazide or an ACE inhibitor, a calcium channel blocker, let's stop and think, why is our blood pressure high and what can we do naturally to lower it? We did a whole other lecture on this. But step number 1, get rid of the sugar and a lot of the white flour and carbohydrates because it's going to cause your body to retain water. This is another JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association article. If 21% of your calories are coming from sugar, you double your risk of heart disease. Number 1 killer in the US, double your chances from high sugar. 25% of your calories comes from sugar, you triple your risk of heart disease, heart attacks. So I put that up there just to show you it's a direct link. The more sugar you consume in your diet, the more likely you are to get heart disease. A lot of people don't think about it. Sugar and blood pressure, sugar and heart disease. Also, is going to raise your triglycerides. A lot of time, you know, if you get a lipid panel, and I encourage everybody to get blood work regularly, and look at cholesterol levels, HDL, LDL, triglycerides. You want to look at these, look at different ratios, because they are good indicators of your overall health. Sugar is going to, oh, come on, what is this? Postpone, do not do. Okay. But sugar, when it gets in your body, that's sucrose, that gets broken down, glucose and fructose, that gets turned, it's instant energy. So unless you're in the middle of working out or burning it off, that's fat. That gets turned straight into fat in your body. It's not the fat that makes you fat. It's not the cholesterol in the diet that raises your cholesterol. It's the sugar. You gotta get rid of the sugar. Now, this is one study, because I'm a big, I get local free-range eggs, and I eat a lot of times a couple dozen eggs a week. This study, they ate 6 eggs a day, 7 days a week, for 6 weeks, tested cholesterol before after, no change. It's not eating cholesterol that raises your cholesterol. Most of the time, sugar, white flour. It inflames the body, it causes water retention, it raises your blood pressure, and raises your cholesterol. So especially before you start taking some of these meds, which a lot of times you're going to take the rest of your life, that is dehydrating you in order to lower your blood pressure and getting rid of and making you deficient in potassium, magnesium, other things. Get rid of the sugar and you can take care of that without even going down that road. Sugar and cancer. So this is a part, it gets a little technical, but I want you guys to understand this because this is kind of a big new nutritional thing that's coming out on some of the natural cancer treatments and mainstream cancer treatments. But if you remember anything from the slide, think that sugar feeds cancer. Cancer cells thrive on a high sugar environment. Some of these studies that they're doing, they put people into what's called ketosis, or what's called a ketogenic diet, meaning generating ketones. So we'll break this down. Essentially, your body is used to breaking down sugar and using that as energy. If you starve your body of sugar, your body is forced to burn fat for energy instead of sugar. When your body burns fat for energy, it produces what are called ketones. So ketogenic diet means that your body is generating ketones because you've gotten your carbohydrate and sugar intake so low that your body is burning its fat now. To read, I won't read the whole thing here, but essentially this is saying that the activation of sugar-based metabolism in the cell, driven by the presence of increased quantities of glucose, which is sugar, and increased glucose receptors on the cell, drives cancer initiation. So this is starting cancer, not just once it forms, but even the fact that cancer starts in the first place. Moreover, this found that when you interfere with the sugar availability and the uptake to the cell, it can cause the cancer cells to reverse towards its pre-cancer state. So this is saying that if you starve the cells of sugar, that you can essentially both possibly prevent the initiation of cancer cells and even reverse it. That's crazy. Another one too, if you think about this too, because all of our bodies constantly are essentially fighting cancer every day. And a lot of that can be the immune system that recognizes these cells as foreign and attacks it. One soda decreases your immune system by 1/3 for 3 to 4 hours after you drink it. So plus you get into cold and flu season, you're a soda drinker, you're gonna get sick. You know, this is gonna be a big boost to your immune system, a big decrease to your immune system, because 80% of our immune system in the GI tract. You're dumping sugar, you're inflaming, you're causing candida, other issues. All right, some of the obvious ones: type 2 diabetes, obesity. Yeah, I always love this. You know, evolution of man into the modern American here. So obesity, especially people that need to lose weight, first thing you gotta do, get rid of added sugar, because that's instant energy in your body. And if you're not burning that energy, you're storing that energy, and it goes straight into your fat cells. Because it's glucose, it's just that simple molecule gets stored right away. This is another study that showed, this is 2013, up to 40% of all U.S. healthcare expenditures are for diseases directly related to the overconsumption of sugar. 40% of healthcare spending. That's billions, probably trillions of dollars. I don't know what we're spending nowadays. 52% of Americans, they're estimating, are diabetic or pre-diabetic. Over half. And roughly 66%, or 2 out of 3 people, are either overweight or obese now. And this is it. It's the sugar. You know, the more sugar that people have consumed over the last 30, 40 years, these obesity rates, type 2 diabetes rate, people pre-diabetic, everything's going up. As far as your sugar numbers, when you get your blood work, get your fasting glucose done, make sure you want to try to keep that sugar under 100. And look at your HA1C, which is a 3-month average of your sugar levels. Keep that below 5.5. That'll give you your, pre-diabetes or diabetes. So keep an eye on those numbers. But essentially, that's what I want you to remember is sugar in the body turns straight into fat, if it's not burned. High sugar diets are even linked to Alzheimer's disease, inflammation long-term, inflammation of the brain. Candida, we're not really going to get into, but essentially our bodies, our gut, our intestinal tract is covered with billions of bacteria. And now there's enough research where most people have at least heard of probiotics, and a lot of us take probiotics. Those are the healthy bacteria that you want in your GI tract. When you're eating too much sugar, you're going to throw off that or create what we call dysbiosis of the bacteria, and can lead to candida overgrowth, which is yeast, which can lead to more sugar cravings, kind of create a cycle. And inflammation, a whole nother lecture, but sugar is highly inflammatory. Inflammation drives chronic diseases. We want to live a lifestyle that is anti-inflammatory, starting with the foods that we put into our mouths. And then, of course, crankiness, mood swings, things like that. If your blood sugar is going like this, mentally, you're not going to be stable. Sugar and aging. So next month's topic is going to be anti-aging. how to try to slow down the aging process. So we're not going to get into a lot of this, but there's a lot of theories on why we age and a lot of different explanations for it. And we'll talk about it because a lot of it is kind of theory still. But there's what are called AGEs, or advanced glycation end products. And I'll just read this quote. This is from Perricone. He's a big anti-aging guy. He's an MD. But basically, wrinkles, deep lines, sagging skin are a partial byproduct of the process known as glycation, in which sugar molecules attach themselves to collagen fibers and can cause them to lose their strength and flexibility. Of course, that's superficial. That's just talking about visibly aging, but on a cellular physiological level, it's going to cause premature or faster aging and higher incidence of disease processes. So if I can't appeal to you through your health, at least through your beauty. All right, so.
Oh my God.
What? Does anybody know who this beautiful girl is? This is a former sugar addict.
Oh my
When we
God.
met, she was a sugar junkie. You have some telltale signs of
Oh
sugar
my
addiction. Smeared all over the face, covered the hands, the look of guilt in the eyes. Shouldn't be doing it. That's my wife, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
my God.
All right. So, step number one, and this is the most obvious but the most important. Get rid of the obvious stuff. Stop drinking pot. Get away from the cakes. Get away from the pies and the cookies and unfortunately, the snoogles for our Kudrowskis. The Kudrowskis are good friends, so we always have fun going back and forth with this stuff. But you got to get it out of the house. So you think about, an alcoholic can't hang out in bars. Smokers can't hang out with other smokers. Sugar addicts, you can't be surrounded by it. You want to try to, number one, get it out of the house. So then, when the temptation strikes at 10 o'clock at night, and your blood sugar's low, and you're craving some ice cream, it's not in your freezer, keep it out of the house. Rule number one. We get a box of Girl Scout cookies and makes it in the house. It has a life expectancy of less than 24 hours. So we try to keep everything out of the house. Eliminate the worst offenders. And also, you want to get rid of the white flour, because white flour, my wife is literally crying. You want to get rid of the white flour because the flour and the simple carbohydrates are broken down into sugar in the body. So a lot of your breads, baked goods, anything white flour, you really want to get rid of that too. Get rid of added sugar, get rid of the worst offenders. You want to stop drinking sugar in all forms, especially for people that want to lose some weight. Stop drinking calories. You don't want to drink your calories. For example, take an orange versus orange juice. You eat an orange, there's some sugar in there. There's fructose that's naturally occurring. There's roughly, say, I got this on another slide, but basically you're getting the sugar, but you're also getting water, you're getting fiber, you're getting vitamins, vitamin C, you're getting minerals, you're getting phytonutrients, you're getting antioxidants, and all these other healthy things because it's real food. And if you drink orange juice, it's pasteurized, so all of those healthier things are killed, and you're getting pure sugar. So a 16-ounce orange juice is going to have roughly 48 grams of sugar in it. Don't drink orange juice. Too much sugar. But you can eat an orange that's going to have a few grams, and that orange is going to get broken down over a couple hours because your body's also digesting the fiber and everything else. The orange juice, straight sugar. 20 minutes, that's fat. That gets transferred in. You want to also get away from the chemical sweeteners. Aspartame, most of the research is going to show aspartame is, it's not going to show definitively problems, but there's so much anecdotal information on problems with aspartame, Diet Coke essentially. When you get into all these different artificial sweeteners, they're chemicals, and you really want to stay away from it. The one thing that I'm okay with, oh, and the other thing with diet sodas is big links with diet soda and weight gain, because it's still affecting your blood sugar levels. It's still giving you an insulin response. So you don't want to drink diet sodas. A couple things you can drink, like I just had this at lunch today. I've never heard of this before, but this is water with a little bit of kiwi and strawberry flavor. No calories, no sugar, no added sugar. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of these companies come out with stuff as people are educating themselves on all the problems with what they drink. This, 65 grams of sugar. Actually, let's do this now. I need a volunteer from the audience. Who wants to volunteer? Okay, come on up here, please. So, what we're going to do, this is 20 ounces Coca-Cola. This is 20 ounces of water. What we're going to do is show you how much added sugar is to the water in the Coke. Okay? So everybody can see, help her count. She's going to start putting the sugar in here. We just want to do a level teaspoon.
Okay.
And I'll tell you when you put the amount of sugar that is in this pot pen. Okay?
Jeez, okay.
All right.
How many?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who thinks we're getting close? 7, 8, 9, 10. Getting close yet? 11, 12, 13. Would anybody do this? Sit at a table and put this much sugar in their water? 14, 15, 16. Thank you. That's 16 teaspoons of sugar in one Coke. You think about what that's doing to your blood sugar, your insulin levels, your poor pancreas, all your cells that have to try to process that much sugar. The human body is not designed to be able to process that kind of sugar. Especially people drink this stuff every day. Some people drink.
Is that all sodas or just Coke?
That's all soda. Pepsi's going to be the same. Root beer is going to be the same. 7-Up, it might be less. It's still an ungodly amount of sugar, though. It's too much. You can't drink soda. Gotta go. That's a big no. So, what can you drink? Find a. Well, number one, drink water. Drink tea. Any kind of herbal teas, green teas, black teas are good. I'm okay with coffee. A lot of antioxidants, phytonutrients in coffee. Just don't dump a bunch of sugar. But even that, you think about this. If you have a cup of coffee, how much sugar do people add to it? A teaspoon? Yeah, not 16. You know. So you still don't want to, but it's not as bad as this stuff. Water, coffee, tea, milk. Yeah. So there's only one mammal on Earth that continues to drink milk after they're done weaning off of their mothers. And there's only one mammal on Earth that drinks milk from another species. Yeah. Milk is designed to take a very small animal and make it very big in a very short amount of time. A lot of nutrients and a lot of calories, a lot of lactose, a lot of sugar. The only time I'll ever drink milk is if I'm intentionally gaining weight. If I'm trying to lift and bulk up a little bit, I'll drink some organic whole milk. If you're drinking milk, buy organic. Because of all the hormones that they put in that stuff. Okay? I got a funny slide on that in a minute. And this is also very important. Learn to read labels. This is 56 different names of sugar that they add, processed food companies add. Some of the more common ones, high fructose corn syrup, cane juice, cane sugar, corn syrup solids, confectioner's sugar, dehydrated cane juice. This is a big one a few years ago. The health food companies, when you get this health food and you think, oh, I don't see sugar on the label, they put in agave nectar, or they'll put in something that sounds very exotic, but it's still sugar. It's still getting broken down into sugar. As far as your body's concerned, as far as your pancreas and your blood sugar levels are concerned, it's still sugar. It's added sugar that you want to get away from. So learn to recognize, honey, learn to recognize the different names of sugar so you can identify it. And keep in mind, we'll talk about this on the next slide, learn to read labels, but most of the food you eat should not have a label on it. Organic fruits, organic vegetables, healthy cuts of meat, they don't put labels on that stuff, you know, because you don't need to worry about it. It's healthy stuff, don't worry about it. And then we want to eat in moderation, not like this little girl. Moderation. And keep in mind that when we eat that sugar or drink that Coke, whatever it is, to get that dopamine rush, most of the pleasure that comes from eating sweet foods, you're getting in that first couple bites. So have a bite, 2 bites, get rid of the rest of it. Don't gorge on that stuff. Dark chocolate has some good antioxidants and other good health benefits, not very much sugar. So if you're going to have a little treat, eat a piece of fruit, have a little bit of dark chocolate, don't eat a box of Girl Scout cookies. All right, so what do we eat? Step number 2, we eat whole foods. So we want to eat a natural, organic, preferably, whole food or plant-based diet. So there's 5 million different diet plans out there, and I'm not talking diet like trying to lose weight diet. I'm talking about what we want to eat every day, essentially for the rest of our lives. I'm a big fan of what's called paleo diet because of the simplicity of it and because it's an anti-inflammatory style diet. And the simplicity is, before you eat something or drink something, you just ask, does this come straight out of nature or is it processed? Is it real food or is it fake food? For example, a fruit, an apple, you pick it off a tree and you eat it. An apple-flavored Pop-Tart. That doesn't come out of nature. And you look at the ingredients, and there's 30 different ingredients, and you can't pronounce half of it, and it's a bunch of high fructose corn syrup and white flour. Not good for you. Eat real food, natural food. Organic, preferably. Fruits, vegetables. Eat vegetables every meal. We talked about smoothies. We did that lecture. That's on our Facebook page if anybody wants to watch it, where we talk about incorporating that, especially in a breakfast. You know, spinach, broccoli. You can put this stuff right in a smoothie and drink it first thing in the morning. But you want to get away from processed foods. And it's not that expensive. This is one that my wife always gets mad about when people are like, oh, we can't afford it. You can afford it. This is McDonald's to feed a family of 4. This is a healthy meal to feed a family of 4. $28, $14. It's not that bad when you're cooking at home. You know, buy ideally organic and cook at home. You have to learn how to cook healthy food. So get a paleo cookbook. Mediterranean diet I'm okay with. It's more, you know, it incorporates grains more, but a lot of research is very positive on Mediterranean diet. But essentially, you want to get rid of the sugar and the junk and replace it with good quality organic fruits and vegetables. I'm not a vegan vegetarian fan. I think that the body, I mean, I'm okay with it, but I think that small quantities of quality meat are more beneficial than they are harmful. I get all my meat, I get it from Dostal's farm. They're out on Route 20, so there's no hormones in it. The animals are treated humanely. They do eggs and chicken, all that stuff, so I try to get everything local. Or go hunting, for those of you who like hunting. Then you get it the best, right out of nature. Eggs are good. One of nature's perfect foods. Great balance of amino acids. Eat eggs. But get them free range, get them organic, buy them local, you know, support your local farmers. Nuts, seeds, again, if food that comes straight out of nature, it's not processed. Most all of these foods have these added sugars. And that's my example of the orange juice. 3 teaspoons in 1 to 2 hours for an orange. 48 grams of sugar, which would be 12 teaspoons in OJ in 20 minutes. So it's not that expensive. Get rid of the garbage, step number 1. Replace it with actual food. Whole, organic, real food. Step number 3, get some exercise. This picture is from China. We were hiking up to a abandoned section of the Great Wall of China, and we camped up there. You see my wife is smiling. I'm not, because I'm carrying all her stuff. But exercise is going to help to improve our insulin sensitivity. So it's going to help to flush out toxins, help to get blood flowing through the muscles. It's going to help with everything. So you want to incorporate some exercise into the diet. One of the healthiest things, I meant to look this quote up, but there's like an ancient Chinese quote about he who takes 100 steps after their meals lives 100 years or something like that. But it's a good habit to get into after you go for a little walk and helps to burn off some of that, helps with digestion. And the exercise doesn't have to be crazy. Active and outdoors and doing things. So whether that's yard work, gardening, that's all good. Going for some long walks. We have a beautiful town with sidewalks and parks, you know, the metro parks in the county. Take advantage of that stuff. Get outside, get some exercise. Interval training is always good, where you push yourself hard for a little bit, take a little break. Whether that's running, biking, swimming, there's it's a lot more efficient to incorporate some high intensity things. Resistance training, which could be weightlifting or even, you know, push-ups, squats, stuff like that is important, especially for guys as we age, to keep that muscle mass so we're not atrophying. You also get a metabolism boost from this. It's going to also can give you that endorphin, dopamine rush that you're getting from sugar. So you can try to replace that with exercise. Also a good way if you're getting cravings, get some exercise. It's going to help to take care of your cravings. So essentially, you want to think about that. What's happening to this? You know, if you're sitting at your desk for 8 hours and you're drinking this, what's happening to it? It turns straight into fat. You're not burning it off. So it's good to time. It's good to think about timing too. Just think about what you're eating and what's going to happen with it. If it's 10 o'clock at night and you're sitting on the couch eating a bunch of carbs and sugar, it turns straight into fat. So it's good to, especially if you know you're going to be indulging, Thanksgiving, Easter, things like that, get a good workout in the morning so that you're going to try to shuttle that energy in the muscle tissue, or you're going to burn it off instead of it, you know, sitting on the couch or sitting at work all the time. So think about that timing too. But you want to burn it off, you don't want to store it. All right, sleeping. What happens when we're tired? Moody, cranky, not enough energy, craving sugar. If you're not sleeping enough, you're going to crave more sugar. Big links with lack of sleep and waking. That's your body's time to heal, your body's time to recover, to rest. It's important for your hormones, growth hormone, different things to recover there. This is my wife, Mr. Rocco, fiddling on the couch. Aww. But lack of sleep, lack of energy, sugar cravings. I'm a fan of 8 hours of sleep a night. Unless you're my wife, you get 10 hours of sleep a night. But a lot of things will show 6 to 8 hours. Yeah, it's true. A lot of people say 6 to 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours, 7 to 9 hours. Get 8 hours of sleep at night. Go to bed at 10, get up at 6, whatever your schedule is, try to get 8 hours of sleep. It's important. You know, a lot of times people just focus on diet, supplements, exercise, and that's all good. But don't underestimate the importance of a good night's sleep. That's going to help with everything, especially sugar cravings. So a lot of links with that. A couple little tips, and there's, you know, you can get a lot of this online, but number one, turn off the television. Don't have a TV in the bedroom, and have a time where you just turn the TV off. Because you think about it, over thousands of years, you know, we're designed to be awake when the sun's up and asleep when it's down. When we're staring at screens, the blue light from screens, it actually affects you. It affects your body's melatonin levels and interferes with sleep. So it's good to read at night, you know, do a little reading, turn the TV off. The bedroom should be cool. It's good to keep it as dark as possible in the bedroom. There's a lot of teas and different things you can do, stress management techniques, which we'll talk about in the next one, but don't underestimate sleep and its power to help you in your sugar addiction cure. All right, check your hormones. This is what I was talking about. I warned you about the hormones and all that meat and dairy. You guys got understood that. So it's good to check your hormones. It's a pretty simple blood test. But the number one thing to think about is insulin. So think about this from a biochemical standpoint. you consume sugar, especially in mass quantities, your body needs to uptake, that floods your bloodstream with all of this glucose. Your body needs to get that glucose. It needs to get rid of the glucose because it damages nerves and causes these other things. When you get a mass dose like this, your body secretes insulin. Insulin is what tells your cells to bring in that glucose for energy. So what happens over time is those cells, the receptors on the cells become resistant to the insulin. This is where type 2 diabetes comes in. And you're essentially, your pancreas is just constantly shooting out insulin. And especially when we get into anti-aging and a lot of disease processes, you want to think about keeping your blood sugar low all the time, keeping your insulin levels low all the time. You don't want to do this, which is this, big blood sugar, big insulin, big blood sugar crash, because of all the insulin that gets released. Essentially, you're burning out your pancreas over time. You want to keep blood sugar levels slow and steady, low and steady. And you do that by making better food choices, like we talk about. Fruits, vegetables, fiber, healthy fats, foods that are going to break down slower in your body and not pure energy. And it's good to check. We're not really going to get into hormones here, but thyroid levels, testosterone, estrogen, progesterone. Good to see where you are, and keep in mind that insulin from too much sugar is going to affect these other hormones. It can decrease what's called SHBG, or sex hormone binding globulin, which is going to affect testosterone and estrogen levels. But we're not going to get into all that. Just it's fun for me, but people don't like it. All right. Manage your stress levels. This is Iceland. This is in the Blue Lagoon. It's like a natural thermal spa. It was awesome. Highly recommend Iceland. But what happens when we're stressed out? And this is, I think, especially a lot of women, emotional eaters. We get stressed, and it's a natural reaction to crave that sugar. So in order to fix that, we need to avoid the emotional eating and manage our stress levels. Stress releases what's called cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and that's going to affect a lot of other hormones, and it's going to cause sugar cravings. So it's important that we manage our stress levels. And that's different for everyone. There's a lot of research, and I'm a big fan of what's called mindfulness, or just trying to be present instead of living in this, oh my God, I got to go here, and then I got to do this, and now I have that, to just stop, take some deep breaths, just be present. And stop, get out of your brain for a second and just relax. Positive mental attitude, practicing gratitude instead of thinking of all the things we don't have. It's good to focus on and be grateful for the things we do. Helps manage our stress levels. Time in nature, ecotherapy they call it. It's very important to spend time outdoors. Like I said, we have these metro park systems. Go for a walk, spend some time outdoors. And yoga, tai chi, exercise again, all great things. We'll do our last step, and then we'll get into questions here shortly. It's pushing 7:30 here. So, essentially, there's 5 supplements that I recommend for almost everybody, just to kind of fill in the gaps. One of these important things to keep in mind, Americans tend to be overfed but undernourished, meaning that we get too many calories, not enough nourishment, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, antioxidants. What happens is on a cellular level, if our bodies aren't getting what they need, magnesium, these different things, then your body is craving more. So if you're not nourishing your body, but you're just feeding your body, you're going to constantly be hungry. One thing, multivitamin, kind of fill in some of those gaps. Get your minerals, some of these vitamins, B vitamins, is going to help with that. Vitamin D. We do a whole lecture on vitamin D. One of the most important things you could do for your health. Optimize your vitamin D levels. Try to get it at 40 to 50. And that can affect your hunger hormones. There's some studies that can help with weight loss and decrease your risk of diabetes. Omega-3s, these are your fish oils, fatty acids, can help with your glucose control. Magnesium, they say 80 to 90% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. I usually take a teaspoon of magnesium every day. It contributes to insulin resistance, and it can lower your chance of metabolic syndrome, which is kind of in this whole type 2 diabetes realm with supplementations. Probiotic, we mentioned briefly that's going to help to give your body the healthy bacteria to fight off candida, some of these other overgrowths. And then there's hundreds of other things. Chromium that are marketed as blood sugar regulators. Chromium, cinnamon. There's some good studies on. It's an easy thing to incorporate into your diet. Can't part with cinnamon in their coffee every morning. Ginseng, all these other things. But really, it starts with food. This is a picture of a shelf in my office. I'm always experimenting with all these supplements, and I'll take all these in a day. I take a lot of supplements. Benefits. Two biggest things that Americans, a lot of times you're looking for are weight loss, increase energy. Get rid of the sugar. Those are going to be your biggest benefits. You might feel a little crappy the first few days because you're an addict, but as you get away from that, your energy is going to increase, your weight's going to go down. And the weight, a lot of times, will literally, it melts off you. If you're a sugar junkie and you get rid of the sugar, the weight loss is going to happen quickly. Improved health biomarkers, as little as 10 days, blood pressure, cholesterol, hormones. All these things are going to improve, and it doesn't take that long. So you could pick a couple weeks, whatever, and try to be a strict one, and then just consume it in a little bit, just moderation. All right, I'm going a little bit over, so we'll wrap this up. Next month, anti-aging. That's going to be the topic. So if you enjoy it, we'd love to have you. It's just a service that we do. We are doing functional medicine consults in my office now. None of this goes through insurance because our insurance companies only wait till diseases happen, and this is all prevention. But we are starting to schedule some functional medicine. I'm doing a 300-hour functional medicine and nutrition diplomat program right now. You can find more information on our website, watsonwellnessinc.net. Facebook, my wife is always updating our Facebook page with different events and things that we're doing. And further reading, there's a lot of really good books out there on sugar addiction. So if you're at the library, see what they have, pick up some good books on it, and try to educate yourselves. All right, we have a raffle, and we're going to have questions. So any questions, I'll stick around for. Pass your slips to the center, and once you get them in the center, pass them to me, and then we'll do our drawing.
I get mine up.
Put them in trading post back here. Thank you.